Michelle. I talked to one of my favorite people, Michelle. I talk about her all the time on this app. And listen. So she called me today. And there's going to be some cuss words in this. So scroll on if you don't want to hear cussing. Because Michelle's a cusser. So she says, she calls me up. She's like, hey, what are you doing? So I'm like, we're talking about that. And I'm like, what's going on with you? And she was like, I don't think me and him are going to make it. And she's talking about the guy she's dating. So I'm like, well, why? She was like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, just tell me some funny shit about one of these random ass fucking people you done ran into, right? So I said, Michelle, you know what? I said, why don't we get married? Like, why don't we just stop fucking around and dating these other people and let's just get married, you and I. She said, oh, hell no. I said, why hell no? Michelle, she said, oh, because you'll make my pussy malfunction. I said, Michelle, what are you talking about? She said, you just feel too much shit. I'm like, what? At this point, I can't stop laughing. I said, Michelle, what do you mean? She's like, you just feel too much shit. Like one day, she said one day you're an advocate for black, trans, vampire, homeless youth. The next day you crying because the rain is so pretty. She said, I couldn't do that. She was like, I couldn't date you. I couldn't date you and not even get married. I definitely couldn't date you. She was like, you probably cry after you have sex and then I'm gonna have to beat your ass. Yeah. So look, I called one of my friends and asked her if she wanted to go to this barbecue at another friend's, a mutual friend's house. So she was like, well, who is it? And mind you, this person, mind you, both of these are my sweethearts, right? So I told her whose barbecue it was. And she was like, because the last time we went to her house for a barbecue, she only had one thing of ribs. And she was trying to feed 40 people with one thing of ribs. Where the fuck they do that at? She said, no, take me off the list. I said, okay, fine. So then I called my friend back who's having a barbecue and I was just like, oh, and I told her what she said. And she was like, I didn't know. She said, I didn't know all them hungry motherfuckers was going to come. She said, everybody wanted ribs. I had enough hamburgers, I had enough hot dogs, but these motherfuckers want real meat. I said, I'm just a messenger. I'm going to be there. So I'm just a messenger. For me, the last time was a blur because you just had so much alcohol that it was fine. Like them little burnt hot dogs, they were perfect for me. But I do remember when she put out them ribs and she opened that foil, there was like 17 people in line to get one rib. All right, what's going on, guys? I've been literally laughing for an hour now. I was like, for those who follow me, welcome to everybody new, but for those who follow me, no, I rarely do part twos, but this one was so good that I had to do it. So my friend Michelle, which I have many stories about Michelle on here, but my friend Michelle called me or sent me a text last night, and it was my video about our mutual friend who was moving to Kenya and saying that all black men are bad. So she sent it to me last night and I wasn't up for the shits last night. So I was like, I didn't answer it. So then she calls me this morning, like 3 times back to back. So I finally pick up and she's like, hey, Dr. Love. I said, Michelle, I am at the laundromat because my washing machine broke down and I am not up for the shits this morning. She said, oh no, you're going to be up for this shit. You're going to be up for this shit. Cause you remember you cussed me all the way out when I cussed her all the way out and she blocked me for 2 weeks and then asked me if I wanted to go to brunch and I told her she could eat crab dip off of my ass. She said, so imagine my surprise when I jump onto the internet and you crying to a billion people about how there are good black men when I was sitting there defending you to another black woman, as a black woman. She said, I said, well, do you want an apology? I said, you can have an apology. She said, I don't want your raggedy ass apology, you lying, cheating ass black nigga. I said, Michelle, I said, stop. I said, it's not funny. I said, it's not funny. Yeah, she needs to get it together. She needs to get it. She said, I know. That's why I told her. She said, the only thing that I said to her when she called me was, you need to take two things off your resume. One, trying to figure out why a man cheated on you. And two, trying to make said man feel guilty about cheating on you. She said, there's no fruit in that. You're not getting power out of that. Get out of the situation. I said, well, that is true. She said, yeah, and then she can turn around now everybody's mad and she's considering lesbianism. You don't fucking consider lesbian. So Michelle, I said, she said, no. She said, that's it. She's like, I'm going into work and I'm going to keep going into work. But I just wanted to call your raggedy ass and tell you, yeah, next time I try to defend your ass and you don't take up for me, oh, it's on and popping. I said, okay. I said, I apologize. You're right. You did take up for me. Right. And she said, and you go ahead and post this and you let all them people know that you have one black woman in your life that's looking up for you. I said, I will. She said, it's your raggedy ass. Y'all, I love my friends so much. I love my friends so much. Listen, so I've been working on this website trying to get these t-shirts out, right? So I called my best friend and I was like, hey, can you test the website out? And let me know if you get any kinks in it or whatever. So then she sends me back this picture and I gotta read to you what she said to me. She said, respectfully, bitch, I am not going to pay $61 for nobody's t-shirts. I don't care if you were Jesus Christ and you were selling t-shirts to save my soul. You're not getting $61 out of me. Now, granted, I fucked up on the portion where you're supposed to put in like the shipping costs and all of that. So it came up to $61, but I couldn't see that on my side. So she said, I don't care if you were Jesus Christ selling t-shirts for my soul. I'm not buying a t-shirt for no fucking $61. I love my friends, y'all. I love my friends. Oh God, I can't. I'm out of breath. All right, y'all. So listen, I might be tripping. It might just be me, but I'm gonna need y'all to chime in. So my friend Michelle called me, right, and she asked me, "Do I want to go to a barbecue?" She was like, she's throwing a barbecue tomorrow. So I'm like, I'm all for it. Let's do this, right? I'm beyond, because I haven't done a good barbecue this summer. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I said, well, what should I bring? And she was like, nothing, just bring yourself. I said, okay. Then she was like, yeah, it's at 8:30. I said, military time? She said, Damon, 8:30. What? That doesn't make any sense. Who serves a barbecue at 8:30 p.m.? Like, is that a thing? Y'all let me know, because maybe I just might be out of the loop, but ever since 42, I've been living my life like I've just been a perpetual sundown town. So I don't leave my house at when the sun goes down. So who's having barbecues at 8:30? You don't think that's crazy? That has to be crazy. Like, there's vampires. Did you see Sinners? There's vampires out there when the sun goes down. I'm not for all this. What? Not for no chicken wings? Who the fuck has a barbecue at 8:30? Because you're not going to turn me into security, because if I get there, that means that everybody's going to drink and eat and all that, which means people are not going to be rolling out until like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So, what? So you want me to tuck your daughter in, like, tuck her in the bed, and just be like, Uncle loves you. No, who has a barbecue starting at 8:30? So then she was like, well, just come earlier. I said, what? She was like, yeah. She was like, we could just talk and act stupid while I cook food. What? That's not a barbecue? That's me helping you cater an event. That's not a barbecue. Who? She was like, damn, man. She was like, this is why I'm not gonna invite you. She was like, there's gonna be like some really, really like cool people there, and actually it might be people that you like. Listen, I don't care if AI created a person that had Stevie Wonder's vocal ability, Lupita's looks, and I don't know. I'm not going to I'm going to keep on that analogy because it might just be a little discriminatory. Maybe not. I don't know. It's not black people. Anyway, yeah, like it can be anybody. I don't care. I'm not coming. That's crazy. Yeah. Once again, Michelle, I called her on my way home, right? Driving back. And I was like, hey, what you doing? And she said, I'm online trying to find cheap tickets to the J-Lo concert. I said, you like J-Lo like that? And she was like, no, I'm going to gift them to that deer. I can't.